A few weeks ago, I put out a video about Kaspa and the release of their KRC20, and I got an overwhelming response. I mean, look at all the comments on this, and there was one in particular that really caught my attention, which was around Alephium is light years ahead. Some of the most advanced DEX protocols are already running on our Sharded algorithm. So it seems to be some synergy between the Kaspa community and Alephium, and I wanted to understand what are some of the differences. What is Alephium? What makes it better or worse, or just different in general? And in order to get those answers, I decided to bring on a guest. And that guest is Maud. She's the CEO, she's the COO, she wears multiple hats within Alephium. Maud, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
It's great to have you. Yeah. So why don't we start with just a little bit of background about yourself, how you got involved in blockchain altogether?
Yeah, so I got involved in blockchain in 2017. I started working for a Swiss-based crypto exchange. That was really my first experience into crypto. I didn't have any knowledge around that. So I had a baptism by fire because I started in December 2017. So if you were already in the game at that point in time, you know that it was the first time I think the scalability limitation of the main big chain kind of started to be felt with, the crypto kitty actually on Ethereum and Bitcoin hitting 20,000 and sometimes having transaction taking days to be settled on chain. And I spent several years there where I had, again, a kind of a pretty broad role around legal, HR, operation, really, really broad. And then I transitioned into Alephium in June 2021, May 2021, so almost 3.5 years ago, where I am the COO. And as you said, I wear many hats. So I oversee pretty much everything that is not coding or marketing.
So you've been in the space for longer than I would say probably 50% of the people that are watching this video. So you definitely are very well versed in the space. And I just have a few questions because every time I learn about a new chain, I've got my reservations. Why do we need all these chains? What are the differentiation between, say, Alephium and other layer ones, or even Kaspa, right? There seems to be some commonalities, but maybe some differences as well that I'd love to explore with you. So why don't we start there? Because this is just kind of top of mind. What is the main difference between what Kaspa is offering and what Alephium offers?
So I think with Kaspa, we share a lot of shared value. I think, we're both proof of work chain. We were actually, funnily enough, our mainnet were launched one day from each other. And we both leverage DAG, data structure, into our chain, but very differently. And then where it comes to the main difference, I think the primary use case of that Kaspa was pursuing, not the only one, but the primary one was really to be peer-to-peer payment, very similar to kind of the original intent with Bitcoin, but to do it better, more scalable. In the case of Alephium, or main priority and kind of the main objective was always to be a secure, scalable infrastructure for smart contract and decentralized application. And so from day one, all of our technology and all of our environment has really been geared toward tokens, smart contract, and decentralized application, for example. So it means that we've made different technological choices because we were prioritizing different main use cases in the beginning, basically.
So if I'm reading between the lines here, Maud, it sounds like their new development, which is the KRC20, is something that was already in place for Alephium. Is that correct? You already had smart contract capabilities from the very beginning. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, but the KRC20 is actually more similar to inscription on Bitcoin rather than actually smart contract. So that would be closer. If you look at what KRC20 is, it's closer to what you have inscription on Bitcoin. So meaning that it's not yet smart contracts, whereas exactly as you said, on Alephium, we had a token smart contract from day one. Obviously, they improved a lot over time, but it was available from day one.
Believe me, the community definitely let me know that KRC20 is not a smart contract. I had so many comments about that, which I completely understand why they want to set that.
I understand. I would wish people would be more supportive of different chain. And I think it's great to see innovation in the proof of work space, because if you look at the industry, it's majoritarily proof of stake. It's like the proof of work environment is completely underrepresented. And so I don't think it needs to be, one is better than the other. I think Kaspa is a fantastic project. I think Alephium is a fantastic project. And I think we're both working really hard to make proof of work, to keep proof of work relevant and continue to innovate there.
Well said. Now, there's a lot of different chains, and they're not all proof of work. When you look at the main chains, well,
Yep.
Ethereum started as a proof of work. It's not anymore. But you have Solana that's proof of stake. You have Avalanche proof of stake. You have a lot of new chains that are gaining a lot of traction. Like you have the whole movement, no pun intended, with Aptos and Sui. What's the value proposition of these proof of work chains? And there's more coming out too, right? Because you've got Quai network that just recently launched. When is enough enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, in the proof of work, again, as I was saying, has been underrepresented. I think, proof of work offer more. Again, this is opinion greatly vary in the industry, but let's say we are of the opinion that proof of work offers a more robust decentralization for the network. Proof of work, specifically also in our case, because we are a sharded network, proof of work is a lot easier to scale than proof of stake because you don't have to worry as much about validators because, again, different model. But more importantly is the notion of decentralization. Anyone can run a node, and a node is the chain. So it's a lot more resilient as well, because you can run an Alephium node on a Raspberry Pi, and that means that copies of the network can exist, be spin up really quickly, and you can really have this principle of don't trust, verify. Like anyone can go on chain and verify information without relying on intermediary. So that's a big value proposition from proof of work chain.
The challenge that I see with I don't know about Alephium specifically, but the concept of decentralization is a lot of times is at the sacrifice of the UX. When you look at Solana, when you look at Sui, they're lightning fast, right? But I understand that part of the reason why it's so fast and why you have this amazing experience using it is you're compensating for the lack of decentralization, right? And so I feel like we're still in a place in blockchain technology where if you want one, you kind of have to sacrifice the other. I'm curious to understand from you, like, what is Alephium doing in order to make it very like user friendly?
I think, but I guess you also answer your question is like when do we have enough layer one? I guess when you can achieve both without sacrificing the least amount of each other. So the thing that people really experience with proof of stake is usually block time and TPS, right? So block time will be how fast transaction get processed. So our time will be included into a block, and then TPS is how much transaction at the same time can the network manage. And most of the time, you don't really experience the TPS functionalities because this is only when the network would be extremely bloated that you really feel those TPS. So in a lot of time, there's a lot of period in time where you don't really feel the low TPS on Ethereum or on Bitcoin. But when you have time where the network bloats, this is where it becomes very painful. And on proof of stake chain, obviously TPS are increasingly very, very high, and so is block time. So on Alephium, for scalability, we use sharding. So we have multiple chain running in parallel on the network, and we basically assign transaction to specific chain, depending on their origin and destination. And doing so allows us to scale well over 10,000 TPS on a layer one that is proof of work. And on the block time, we recently had a network upgrade that reduced block time from 64 to 16 seconds, which means that especially if you're interacting with DeFi, you have more of a sense of things being instant. Like you place a transaction, it's very rapidly included into a block. And we'll have further network upgrade that will continue to reduce block time. The next tentative target would be 8 seconds, which would be pretty decent for a proof of work chain.
So it sounds like you've got the infrastructure in place here. Now let's talk about like some of the development that's happening. Let's say I'm sold. Okay, I want to use Alephium. Okay, what can I expect in terms of applications that are building on top?
I mean, we're still a pretty young ecosystem. So right now you would have kind of what you would expect, like DEX, NFT marketplace, a number of games as well. Launchpad, as people really look, a lot of token makers, of course, because it's very easy to launch your own token. And we recently had support of Oracle. So we had the first Oracle on chain working with DIA. And this will support then other application like, lending, over collateralized stablecoin. real world asset tokenization, and many other things. So we have actually a few of those projects that are gearing up towards launch for the end of the year. An over collateralized stablecoin with kind of a mechanism similar to what you have with MakerDAO. We also have a pretty interesting project that will do liquid mining. So think about Lido that does liquid staking, but this would be liquid mining. So bridging a little bit the gap between DeFi and mining, because as we were talking before, you actually don't have that many well-adopted proof-of-work chain that have a smart contract environment. So there's a pretty nice opportunity here to bridge those two worlds within the proof-of-work ecosystem. And we have a number of like a real-world asset tokenization project also coming that are pretty exciting around like green bond and other tokenized financial products that will be quite interesting as well.
So it sounds like DeFi, RWAs, those are the narratives that the chain is bullish on. Our listeners always like to understand, like, what's the next narrative? Like, where should I be looking? Is there anything else that is like top of mind for you in terms of a type of narrative that you think will become very dominant in the near future?
I mean, the two that you said would be the primarily one. I think again the ability to really connect the mining side of the industry with the more on-chain smart contracts. Smart contract DeFi is actually really promising. It might not be something that really is across the entire industry, but I think within the proof of work industry, this is something that could be extremely interesting to offer like similar product. Like the liquid mining concept is pretty exciting. And I think it would be a pretty cool narrative for the proof of work ecosystem. Yeah.
What's the roadmap looking like right now? Like, what can we expect from Alephium here in the next year or so?
Well, I mean, we had this year was actually pretty packed in roadmap item. I mentioned we had a network upgrade that reduced the block time from 64 to 16. We had the first ASIC manufacturer coming on chain, so like professional industrial miner designed specifically for Alephium. We had oracles. Just last week, we had ledger support. So now we have 3 hardware wallets. So ledger that is done. 1 key coming in the next few weeks. We have Tangem. We're also in their roadmap for 2024, end of 2024. We actually have a 4th one coming that hasn't been announced. And we are working on our next network upgrade, which will reduce block time further, introduce primitive for layer 2, for example, and a lot of other optimization. I mean, if we talk about the roadmap, I can go. The new roadmap will actually be published on the website. If it's not today, it's going to be early next week. So you can see all of those items in more details. And honestly, a few pretty exciting projects will be launching like by the end of the year and beginning of next year.
So if we wanted to stay in touch, learn about the announcements, what's the website?
Alephium.org. But probably, I mean, honestly, either if you don't like too much noise, we have a Telegram announcement channel that really just keep the announcement going, so you don't have to deal with, the noise of Telegram channel. Or Twitter is also it's probably our main, most outward facing channel. And then if you want to really dive into the deep, Discord would be really our preferred. Like if you want to talk with developers and engage with the community, Discord would be the place to be.
I'll be sure to include all those links in the description. Maud, this was a real pleasure. Thanks so much for enlightening us about what exactly is Alephium, some of the value propositions of the chain, and yeah, really excited about the future development. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to coming back in a few months to keep you updated on what's going on.
Would love to have you. And for those that are watching, if you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and we'll catch you in the next one.